Is it important that you feel like you belong in the workplace? And if you don't feel like you belong in the workplace, what can you do to start creating a sense of belonging for yourself? Lots of juicy stuff on today's episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope y'all are having a great week. I wanted to start off by just saying thank you to those of you that have reached out to me and told me how much you're loving the podcast. It is so nice to hear from folks and to hear that this information is helpful. And I'm just having such a good time as a huge fan of podcasts, creating my own podcast. And of course, it is incredibly fulfilling to hear that y'all are enjoying the content and you're able to apply it and it's able to be helpful for you in the workplace. Because of that, I've decided I would love to do some episodes where I answer your questions or take your suggestions for topics that you'd like to see covered. So I would like to invite you to send me an email at newrolenowwhat, no question mark. I realize new role now what is long enough on its own. So new role now what, no question mark at the end, at gmail.com. And just let me know if you have a question that you would like for me to answer on the podcast about your new job, your new role, confidence crisis that you're having, difficulty in the workplace, whatever's coming up for you. Let me know if you are comfortable with me using your first name. If not, I will answer your question anonymously. And of course, if you just want to send in a discussion topic, something that you'd love for me to talk about, feel free to send me that also at the newrolenowwhat@gmail.com. And I will look into your suggestions and cover ones that I think will be good for everyone to hear that I feel like I can give you solid information on. Okay, so let's dive into today's episode. I want to talk to you all about belonging. This is a topic that I think can be pretty emotional for people, and it comes up a lot. I think it comes up for people who are in a new job, and it also comes up for people that have been in jobs for years and years and years. And particularly when you are new and you are really wanting to feel like this job is going to be a good fit for you, your brain's going to start immediately evaluating, do I belong here? Do I fit in here? It makes sense. You are being put into a group setting, and that means you're interacting. Sometimes you're collaborating. You are explicitly being evaluated by your supervisors, team members. So there's going to be that natural instinct for the brain to start thinking about if it's being accepted by the group. Does it fit in with the group? There's a desire to not be rejected by the group. And of course, ideally, we all want to feel like we like the people that we work with and we want to feel like we fit in. I understand that. It makes sense, and there's nothing wrong with having that desire. But I like to push on this idea a little bit because my goal is to help you feel more empowered. And sometimes the brain's desire to, quote, fit in and feel like it belongs can sort of hijack and take over, and it can start sabotaging your evaluation of a job, and it can also sabotage you showing up and really having or being in a job where you might be a great asset to the team and you might have in front of you an insanely great future at this company. And I don't want this brain's evaluation of, am I being accepted, not accepted, do I fit in, are these my people, to get in the way of that. So I want to talk about the emotional need to belong and where to put that, so to speak. Because what I find is that the workplace is not a great place overall to fulfill our emotional needs. And let me be clear. I believe that workplaces should be paying attention to people's well-being, and that the more they are paying attention to this, the more satisfied and productive their workers are. But the bottom line is this. Companies and workplaces, their number one focus is on whatever outcome they're trying to generate. And if it's a for-profit, right? So their number one goal has to be whatever the goal of the organization is. What are they trying to produce? What are they trying to put out into the marketplace? What service are they trying to provide? And because of that, because that's its focus, the workplaces are not going to be great at thinking about people's well-being in a way that is evolved, in a way that is productive. That often they're busy trying to generate the value and the outcome that is needed for the company to continue to thrive and be successful. So while I am happy if you're in a workplace where you feel like a lot of your emotional needs are being met and you feel like they care a lot about your well-being, that's great. Then you don't need to worry about this. But if you are in a workplace where you feel like that's maybe not true, or you're really starting to question if you belong, then I think that this episode is really helpful for you. In the end, the more that you need your workplace to, quote, complete you emotionally, the less power you feel. And the more that you feel like you are a complete person walking into the workplace, the more empowered you tend to feel. And I'm going to talk about this more in future episodes because I think that bringing our emotional needs and sometimes our wounds and sometimes our negative experiences from the past into the workplace gets all kinds of messy. It's very, very common, but it's not a great place to heal those things because, again, the focus of the workplace is on this outcome, which means that it's focused on needing to evaluate you, on needing to evaluate your performance, on needing to focus on this external goal. All of that is not a great setup for us moving through something that may be emotional trauma from our past or a deep insecurity that we have. So what I want to offer is this, that it isn't necessary for you to personally align with people at work in order for you to feel good at work and in order for you to be successful at work. I want to help you differentiate belonging personally and belonging professionally. These are the two things that I see that get overlapped a lot, and I think separating them can really create an empowering feeling for you and help you show up in a way that feels a little bit less needy and oftentimes feels better, like it makes you feel more capable and competent in all the things. Certainly in most workspaces, you're going to like some people personally and you're not going to like some people personally. And what I mean by personally is their personality, the things that they're into, the way they move through the world, the way they speak, their sense of humor, all of that. In my experience, for example, in my job as a professor, I connected personally to one or two people who I actually became friends with, who I wanted to have a drink with outside of work, who I wanted to talk about other things in my life with, right? I didn't connect personally to all the people around me. Some people were neutral. Some people I didn't prefer personally at all, didn't like their personality or the way they moved through the world or the way they spoke or the way that they showed up. So I understand the desire to want those personal connections because I think the workplace is such an easy place to meet people. We spend so much time there and it feels great. It's fun when we like the people that we work with, and it's easy when we are able to have personal relationships with our coworkers and the people around us. But I think that when you can shift your brain out of believing that this is a necessity in the workplace or even that the workplace owes this to you, and instead see the workplace as a place that you're really looking to belong professionally, not personally. And I want to be clear about this because some of you who I know are coming from this space of insecurity and you're questioning your competencies and your capabilities, your brain is initially going to be like, I don't belong professionally. But I want to offer you this. You belong because you were brought in to contribute to this role. So that means you professionally belong in this space, not because you, quote, get along with people personally, not because of your, likes or dislikes or even personality characteristics, but because of the value you bring to this role. And this is how I have approached belonging for myself in my own life, whether it's when I'm going to a company and working with them or working one-on-one with someone or working in previous jobs. I come from the perspective that I belong professionally. And the only reason I belong professionally is because I am bringing value in my skills and in my knowledge. And that is all I have to be bringing in order for me to belong. I don't have to want to have drinks with you. I don't have to like you personally for me to respect you professionally and for me to work well with you. And in fact, I have had coworkers, colleagues, people who I have worked with, both in my previous career and in this one, who I didn't like personally at all, but who I was able to work with very effectively professionally, who I was able to focus on the outcome or the goal. I was able to bring my skill set, their skill set, and it doesn't matter if we personally feel connected to one another. So I want to offer you this shift, that you don't have to belong personally to belong professionally. And I think what can be really helpful for you in working through this is to look at your role and answer the question on its own, what function is your role fulfilling? So before you even came to this role, no matter who's plugged into this role, what is the function that your role is fulfilling? And then I want you to answer, what experiences, perspectives, skills do you personally bring to this role? And how is this helpful to the company goals? When you can get your brain into seeing that the role you have is a needed role in your organization, it's like one cog in the machine that is necessary to get to the outcome. Otherwise, they wouldn't have that role, right? They wouldn't be paying someone to fulfill that role. And then you can get yourself to see that your own personal experience, perspective, skills, and knowledge are there because they saw those as valuable. That is why you were brought in. And what you bring to the role is effective for the role, and that this is helpful to the company goals. And if you then assume there will be people you like personally, people you don't like personally, this is totally normal, but that you belong professionally because of your role, because of your experience, because of your perspectives, because of your skills, and because how this is helpful to the company goals. All of that means you belong. You don't have to belong personally to belong professionally. And what I'll talk about some more on future podcasts is just belonging professionally does bring a sense of fulfillment. That fulfillment may be a little different than some of our personal emotional needs, but some of our professional emotional needs of feeling productive, feeling useful, feeling like we're contributing, those needs can be fulfilled really great in a company setting, but only when you personally are connected to your contribution. So those are the needs that I like to really focus on helping my clients feel and connect to, because I think the workplace is a great place to connect to those. It is not a great place to go seeking all of your emotional needs that may be personal, your friendships, your romantic relationships, all the other things in your life, your spiritual fulfillment. This is not the best setting for you to have those needs fulfilled. So I just wanted to do a quick podcast for today on this sense of belonging. I know how painful it is to feel like you don't belong, and I know that the brain can so quickly evaluate this right away. And as soon as you're in that space of feeling like I don't fit in and I don't belong, it starts to make everything else feel bad, and it creates so much suffering for you. So I just want to offer you this shift and to help you see that you belong because you're there. You belong because you are bringing something to the table. You belong because your role is necessary. You belong because they brought you in for that role specifically because of what you have to contribute. And that is what it means to professionally belong in a workplace. Okay, please feel free, erinmfoley.com. Hop on over there and book a consultation if you are finding yourself feeling this sense of not belonging, feeling like it's difficult for you to connect to your contributions, to how capable you are, for you to be able to feel the usefulness of the work that you're doing. Do not spin in that indefinitely. Reach out for help and support. And of course, new role, nowwhat@gmail.com. Let me know your questions, topics that you'd like discussed on the podcast, and I will be back with more great information for you. In the meantime, I hope you'll have a great week.